Hello and welcome to my channel today. This is a special video that I am preparing as a tutorial or craft with me for the people who have been purchasing my little project pack that I have named my Petite Pochette Paris. And it has everything in it that you need to make something absolutely beautiful for yourself. There are several items that inspired me along the way. And what I used as the base is a very large damask table napkin. So I'm going to show you what is in the kit. So if you want to make this yourself at home with something else that you have, some other fabric, then feel free to do so. Just bear with me as I unwrap it here. Okay, it has 19 pieces. So what I did was I stamped an image from this stamp and VersaFine black ink onto some lovely dotted blush colored fabric. I've avocado dyed some of the elements, and this one is cheesecloth to go behind this image or whatever you would like. I will list these supply items underneath the description of this video as well. A beautiful pearl applique, and then some bits to embellish the inside and the outside of your project. You can cut these apart, do whatever you would like with them. Some are vintage, some are antique. This one is definitely antique. Look at that. It's not just absolutely stunning and so sheer. I love it. This is a netted collar or neck piece that you can cut down and adorn your project however you would like. Then I've got some embroidery floss. This is actually cotton pearl. So it's by DMC, but it is different in the way that there are no separate fibers, which I find so frustrating with the regular embroidery thread. This is just twisted, so it's one piece. Very easy to use with a size 7 to 9 needle. Some vintage buttons. These are intended to be tied onto the ends of the seam binding, which will become your closure. A vintage doily, some vintage lace, some antique lace, just various different lengths and widths. And then a piece of wider lace. You've got two large panels. This is absolutely stunning. So don't fuss so much about what color you've got as your base, but you can use this to line the inside and the outside of your pouch because you are going to want two pieces. So bear that in mind when you're cutting the size of your outside and inside project. Again, some more sheer lace. So this has been tea dyed. You can see how it will affect the final color of your project by which lace you use, or you can use something different. And then this is the actual size of the dinner napkin that you get, which is huge, as you can see. So there's many different ways you could cut it. I could even use it as a journal cover if you don't want to use it for the pouch. I made mine into a 4-fold pouch, and then I'm going to stuff it with some lovely pieces of ephemera and probably lace and sewing items. So that is your basic kit. If you want to start out with those, similar items, if you have not purchased this kit at our North Carolina Boho retreat, this is what is included in your kit. So I did not have all of the pieces available to use for myself after I finished making all the kits. So I've just kept some pieces here to use to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the first step and explain as I go, of course, and then I will come back. For example, this piece has a substantial number of holes right there, if you can see them. So I wasn't going to use that in one of the kits. So I kept it for myself. I don't mind. I can cover that up. And that's my placement that I'm thinking of for the inside of the pochette. And then I'm probably going to use this one as the outside, one of these. I know I would love to keep this part. I think I've got it upside down. Because it's just so detailed and embroidered. I absolutely love it. And this piece of fabric was just the right size, 16 inches wide. I've got 16 by 7 inches in case you're wondering. And if the napkins are 20 by 20, that gives you plenty of fabric to use, as you're going to want to cut it in half, one for the front, one to the back. And then depending how much you embellish this, you might not even need anything in between as a sort of a stiffening layer, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that's going to be my outside. And I've got the front to the back, both exactly the same. And because you're going to cover it with lace, you're not going to see too much of this through it. Then I've got a band that is going to become the pocket all the way across. And that's here. And what you can do is lift it up a little bit higher if you like. And then whatever lace you end up using, what have I got here? I'm going to go like this. This is what I think I'm going to do. So that the top edge will be level with the band. And then if I sew it here, whatever I put inside, you will be able to see just the very bottom of it. I just think that looks so sweet. So that's my thinking for this sample one that I'm making or putting together. So that's how we're going to start with the front and the back. And I would recommend not to sew anything on your machine until you're sure you don't need to go behind the fabric and do something. As in, you know, add another layer or undo your seams for whatever reason you may have perhaps made a mistake and need to alter things. So this is the way I'm thinking it's going to fold up. So it's going to go like that, and then like that, and then like this. And that will be the size, which is 7 inches by, I think about 4. Yeah, about 4, 4.5, depending on the way that you fold it and how elaborate you get it. So that's covering all the items. So that's basic. So what I'm going to do now is adhere the front and the back and the band, the lace part to it. And then I am going to come back and show you what I'm going to do as my next step. But what I also wanted to show you was my inspiration pieces. I have not seen this done before where it's folded into 4, but I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure many people have, you know, done their thing. I just wanted to create something special for our group of ladies. So this is an antique needle keep that I purchased at an antique show. Isn't that just stunning with the crystal buttons? I've had this for a number of years. It's got silk, what do you call that? Flanged edges here, and this beautiful antique lace. It looks like this was added as an afterthought for the ribbon, but it's just so adorable. I love it so much. So that was one of my inspiration pieces. Just a simple little needle keep, and it's decorated with antique and vintage lace pieces. That's one. Then another one is this little folio that I bought from Lisa and Olive. She's in Australia. She's big on Instagram and YouTube. I love, love, love her products. They're just so amazing. I was fortunate to get one of her early little mini journals a couple of years ago already, so I'm very thankful to have it. Get so many ideas from her. So this is the ephemera she has included, and you can check out her digital kits on Etsy and maybe be thinking ahead of how you want to decorate the inside of your project. I'm going to try and show you this close up. I got the idea of staggering the lace a little bit lower than the actual pocket from this project because, well, you can't see exactly through it, but I just thought it gave so much character to her beautiful keep. And she's just zigzag stitched all the outer edges and then just straight stitched the middle. She's used 2 pieces of lace on the outside, so it meets in the middle underneath. And then on the inside, she's just used the one and then covered it with the pocket, decorated it up a bit, and just so beautiful. I love the way she's done it. She actually attached her ties inside, which I'm not planning on doing for mine, but you certainly can do that if you would like. And then the other piece, of course, is inspiration from our beautiful Georgianne. She made these for each attendant at the Vermont Damsels in Lace Fair Damsels retreat that we had in April of 23. She handmade each of these and stitched them. Isn't that just so exquisite? She's got her embellishments layered quite a bit on the outside and hand stitched. Just the amount of TLC that went into each one of these is remarkable. Beautiful hankies and laces, just layered, which of course is her specialty. She's included some little extras like embroidery floss. She's done a pocket style version here, and extra buttons, some ephemera, and then the inside pages are decorated. But this is an actual needle keep. Ours won't have these pages. They will be just folded over. So it's a little bit more simple, but you can certainly put whatever you would like into each pocket. And then the way that hers ties is like this, and then wrapped around the flower, which is very clever. And those are the inspiration pieces that I have, which inspired me to create something like this for you all to have a look at. Then you can go around and, see what you can collect out of your supplies. I'm sure we all have laces and trims. And if you don't, then just, be thinking about what you can get, make a basic one, and then add to it as you can. The embellishment is always the fun part. So this is step 1, is to get your base pieces together and then start auditioning a few laces of what you would like to see covering the outside and the inside of your project. So I am going to go do that now, and I will come back for the next step. I am back with my progress so far. I did a thing. This beautiful antique lace was sitting just up on my desk there and begging me to be used on this project, so I had to add it. And what that meant is it's much longer. It's probably about 9 inches now. 8 3/4. Yeah, almost 9 inches. But I absolutely love it. And it is ripped. It was one of the leftover pieces that I was not able to include in a kit because of the rips, which I'm fine with. I mean, I look at this and I go, could even have done pockets, but I don't want that. I'm just going to stabilize it, maybe hand stitch it down a little bit better. So it will finish off the cover very, very elegantly. This did mean, though, because it was bigger, that I absolutely had to reinforce it. So I just added in the center a panel of 7" by 16" fabric. That's just regular journal cover base fabric that I have. And it's done the trick. You can maybe even just see a little bit of it right there. I know that this is uneven. That's because this part of the lace is uneven, but that's not to be worried about. It's the inside cover, and it is going to have the little pocket panel attached to it. Isn't that so cute? So I'm at the point where I'm ready to machine stitch it down. So I've basted it, which makes it so much easier for my machine. It's really a workhorse, and I love that little thing. It's over 30 years old, and I do want to keep using it. And the most of the time I sew with paper. There's a lot of times when we sew with fabric as well. So that's where I'm at. And once I have stitched around all the edges with a zigzag stitch, I've already machine stitched this one with zigzag stitch around, so I can just attach this one, and then I'll make my quadrants of where I want to do my folds. And what I actually kind of like is just simply folding it in half, and then like so. That's kind of my vibe right now. Having the seam binding for the closure might not be adequate. I might need to switch to sari silk or something, or maybe just wrap it a few more times. This is actually very thin sari silk. And then what I might end up doing is just wrapping it a couple of times, so it's got a few layers holding it together. Maybe add a beautiful decorative button there. Oh, wouldn't that be pretty? As the clasp holder. I love it. So I just wanted to share that with you. I did add the liner piece, and I have hand basted everything together. So now I'll just repeat. I'm going to zigzag stitch all the way around, and then I'm going to attach this piece and work out the quadrants just with a straight stitch for those, and then I will come back to you. This completes the major part of the tutorial for the sample of what a little pochette would look like, my version, and I'm quite pleased with it. Not perfect, but that's okay. Embellishing it will be the fun part to cover up any little issues we have. So I'm just gonna go for it over the next while and see what I come up with, and then I will come back and show you. So here's my 4 quadrants, and if I fold it like so and so and so, I have my little petite pochette. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's helpful, and I'd love to know if you try it at home, what you come up with. I'd love to see your results. Have fun and good luck. Bye for now. Continuing on with our project, this is an update a couple weeks later from the beginning, and I do want to apologize. The first portion, I didn't realize that I was cutting off this bottom here as I was, so I'm really sorry about that, but I hope you've been able to pick up and understand what I've been explaining. It's mostly explaining how I'm doing this, not so much as the individual process of putting it all together. But this is the inside. This is what I've got going on the tall pouch. So you can see where I've added the lace at the bottom and done the band with the lace over top, so it's become a pocket and a tuck spot. And then what I've also done is added this lace, this antique lace at the very, very top. And then flipping it over, I added this lace to the top. And I do love it that it's still got a rough edge, but I thought it finished it off nicely. I also added this embellishment here, a couple of doilies and a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous rhinestone vintage button. The lace that I added to the bottom is from an antique coverlet, and I just sort of trimmed it a little bit. You can still see the background of the first vintage piece quite nicely. So that is one, and now I am going to fill the insides with my ephemera before I add the pieces on, because I want to know how they sit with the what do you call it, the final choice for the pieces of ephemera. For example, if this covers it up too much, then I'm going to have to go smaller. That's what I'm trying to say. And then I have this piece over here. I think I'll put it up here. And that still allows me lots of room to tuck in pieces of ephemera if I want to. And I decided not to do this fold because it just doesn't look right from the front. It looks too bunchy. So I'm going to stick with my original four panel fold. And then I'm going to tie it with the thin sari silk ribbon that I have. I'm just so in love with it. I hope you like it too. This is the first one. And then the second one is smaller. And this one I did not end up lining with anything because this corded lace is so thick and so sturdy. It's still very floppy, but it did not need any lining. And you can see I've got several pieces of appliques and some slow stitching on there, embroidery. And then I've added this vintage lace at the top and the antique lace at the top of this inside panel. And then these are your pockets that we will be filling up. And same thing, I'm going to do the four fold. So this little Paris piece shows, and there is one of those in each of the kits, of course. So that's what it's going to look like. And the next video I will do will be the completed version. I'm going to do that separately. This is more the tutorial, but I have been able to round up some more vintage linens, like the napkins, so I can hopefully do a couple more. I don't think I'll get them done in time for the retreat, but I'm just on a roll with these. I love them so much. Thank you for watching, and good luck with yours if you're going to attempt to take it on at home. See you next time.